So if we just go back to what we were trying to do, we are trying to look at some phenomena in nonlinear optics. We said in dielectric materials, essentially, these dielectric materials can be polar or non-polar. By polar, I mean, if you consider the entities making up the dielectric material to be having their entire positive charge or the ion cores, inner ion cores, to be effectively operating from one point, and all the electrons to be operating from another point, it constitutes an electric dipole. The natural tendency of a dipole is to turn in the direction of an applied electric field. When you have not applied an electric field, these dipoles are oriented at random and the net dipole moment may be zero for both polar and non-polar molecules. When I say non-polar molecules, the centers of action of the positive and negative charges would have simply been coinciding. Therefore, as you know, the moment of the dipole is given by the one of the charges and the distance of separation between the two charges. So if the distance of separation becomes zero, then the dipole moment becomes zero. So without the application of an electric field, and a dielectric material may not show any dipole moment. Such a molecule is a non-polar molecule. In some cases, what happens? The centers of action of the positive and negative charges may be not coinciding. Therefore, as it is, even without the application of an electric field, the material has a dipole moment. So when you apply an electric field, there is an enhancement of the dipole moment that happens. Such a molecule is a polar molecule. Whether it is polar or non-polar, the application of an electric field forces these positive and negative charges to drift away or separate. Then what happens? The dipole moment will come into picture. This dipole moment per unit volume, we call it as the polarization of the dielectric. And this polarization in the dielectric will be proportional to E if E is small, which is actually produced by sources that we commonly use. On the other hand, the availability of high power lasers has made it possible for us to put a lot of light energy, very strong electric field at small regions in a given material because the laser can be focused. With this, what has happened? Fields as strong as 10 to the 7 to 10 to the 9 volts per centimeter can be applied. When such strong fields are applied, these fields are comparable to the electric fields that exist between the species inside a dielectric. So the atomic fields get comparable ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇದು molecular fields ಗೆ comparable ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Comparable ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? You find that the susceptibility chi of the material now has a non-linear dependence. As you know, the susceptibility, the polarization P is related to the susceptibility of the material by ಇದು ಕಾಣುತ್ತಾ ನಾನು ಹಾಕಿರುವಂತ ಫೋಟೋ? ಹಲೋ
ಹಲೋ
ಕಾಣುತ್ತಲ್ಲ? Okay. So the susceptibility chi is epsilon naught. The polarization P is epsilon naught E chi normal agi. If a very strong electric field is applied, then it has in addition some nonlinear terms where it becomes proportional to chi E square, etc., etc., etc. We have the equation which relates P in a nonlinear way to the susceptibility chi. So when that happens, you have certain other phenomena coming into picture. Normally, when the polarization P is simply proportional to the applied field and the susceptibility chi is linearly related to E, then what happens? All the observed electrical phenomena like reflection, refraction, polarization, etc., they happen. When the dependence of the field becomes non-linear, then depending if you launch two electric fields inside a non-linear crystal like KDP, of course we did list a few crystals which show non-linear this behavior. On any such crystal, if you impose two electric fields of frequencies omega 1 and omega 2, then what may happen is you will be able to generate in the medium a frequency that is the sum of these two. If omega 1 and omega 2 are the incident frequencies, these two, the energies of these two electric fields, they will combine through the second order polarizability chi. There is an energy exchange. You can produce, in addition to the original waves, you can produce a wave that is the sum of these two waves. So omega 1 plus omega 2 frequency may come out as the output. You can also have the situation where omega 1 minus omega 2 may come. If you have a frequency omega 3 incident, or even omega 2 and omega 1, you can also generate a frequency omega 3, which is the difference of omega 1 and omega 2. Omega 1 and omega 2, if there are two frequencies, then omega 1 plus omega 2 becomes a third frequency, omega 3. Similarly, if omega 1 and omega 2 are two incident frequencies, their sum, their difference, omega 1 minus omega 2, bigger minus smaller. That's why you have put a modulus sign here. So, what happens? A third frequency can be generated. There are two photons of frequencies omega 1 and omega 2, two electric fields of frequencies omega 1 and omega 2. They combine to produce a third frequency omega 3. Therefore, you can call this as three-wave mixing. Two waves combining to produce a third wave of a different frequency. This can be called as three-wave mixing. So, in phenomena in which the second order effects of polarizability, the susceptibility arise, there you have a situation where you can produce the sum or difference of the two frequencies that are input to a nonlinear crystal. In a special case, it is also possible if you are putting in a frequency omega 1, you can also produce back omega 2 omega 1. That is also possible. If you use a frequency omega 1 and you produce an output 2 omega 1, then you call it as frequency doubling or second harmonic generation. So, some frequency generation, difference frequency generation, second harmonic generation are some of the effects, nonlinear effects of chi square. That is chi 2 antive ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ. So, second order dependence on susceptibility ಇರೋದರಿಂದ ಉದ್ಭವಿಸತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಫಿನಾಮಿನಾಗಳು ಇವೆರಡು. ಜೊತೆಗೆ there is something called as optical parametric amplification. Now, what is this optical parametric amplification or optical parametric oscillation? Here what happens, in the other phenomena like sum and difference frequency generation, we have two signals, omega 2 and omega 1. Here what we do is, we call them as frequencies, signal and pump. There is a pump frequency, there is a signal frequency. Both are input to a nonlinear crystal. Through a second order linking of the energies and their waves, their energies, a redistribution happens. The signal is amplified and the pump is depleted. Actually, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಪಂಪ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಒಂದು ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ಎರಡು ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದನ್ನ ಐಡ್ಲರ್ ಅಂತೀರಾ, ಮತ್ತೊಂದನ್ನ ಆಂಪ್ಲಿಫೈಡ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಅಂತೀರಾ. ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. ಈಗ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಪಂಪ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ there is a signal frequency. Initially, signal is weak, pump is a stronger signal. Because of a combination of their energies, recombination of their energies, due to the second order susceptibility parameter, you find that the energy of the pump is given to the signal and the pump is depleted in frequency, in energy. Energy is proportional to frequency. So the amplified signal produce agutte. Idanna optical parametric amplification anta karitare. Second order frequency ವರೆಗೂ ನಿನ್ನೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ವಿ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಆಪ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೆಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಂಪ್ಲಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡಬಹುದು. The optical parametric amplification refers to the coupled growth of two waves in the presence of a strong wave, which is referred to as the pump. So there is a pump frequency which is having significant energy, very strong wave, a large electric field. So when the pump frequency is omega p, co-propagates, goes along with, and in a nonlinear medium with a signal beam of frequency omega s, the energy from the pump gets transferred to the signal and to another frequency called an idler frequency omega I with the difference frequency generation. So ನೀವು medium ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪಂಪ್ ವೇವ್ ಅನ್ನ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಒಮೆಗಾ ಪಿ ಪ್ರಾಪಗೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಒಮೆಗಾ ಎಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀರಿ. ಅವಾಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎರಡು ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸೀಸ್ ಜನರೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಐಡ್ಲರ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಒಮೆಗಾ ಐ, ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಒಮೆಗಾ ಎಸ್ ಮೈನಸ್ ಒಮೆಗಾ ಪಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಒಮೆಗಾ ಐ, ಒಮೆಗಾ ಎಸ್ ಅದು ಒಮೆಗಾ ಐ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಜನರೇಷನ್. Now the frequency relationship in such a process is written as 2 omega p is equal to omega s plus omega I. For parametric amplification to occur efficiently, a phase matching condition needs to be satisfied, and that depends on the propagation constants of the fields. Idu ella phenomena-gallallu iddadde. All second order effects, third order effects are extremely weak. And for them to be properly amplified, you will have to find some phase matching conditions and certain other conditions. When such a condition is satisfied, these phenomena like parametric amplification, second harmonic generation, or even third harmonic generation can be seen. Otherwise, even if the effects are produced, they will be extremely weak and cannot be observed. So the condition to be satisfied for parametric amplification is that delta k, the difference in the propagation vector, should follow the relation to kp minus ks minus ki, where 2kp is the propagation vector for the pump wave, ks propagation vector for the signal that is amplified, ki is the propagation vector for the idler frequency that is generated in the process. So this is parametric amplification. ಇದೊಂದು ಚಿತ್ರ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇದೇ ಫಿನಾಮಿನಾ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ. The energy of the pump wave is large, therefore when the pump wave propagates along with the signal in the medium, what happens is you see that there is one transition in which the frequency is equal to omega s. This will boost the signal that is already input into the system. Then another frequency is also generated, that is omega I. So the signal, the energy of the pump is now distributed partly in the signal wave and also partly in the other wave called the idler wave that is generated newly. Because it has already had some energy while it was propagating and some additional energy it acquired from the pump frequency or the pump signal, the signal that we are interested in also gets amplified. Therefore, it is called as optical parametric amplification. Use a third frequency to pump, to transfer energy from a pump to to a given signal. Of course, in all these phenomena, energy and momentum have to be conserved. That we saw yesterday in the case of the sum generation and the difference frequency generation. ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. At least the mathematics related to this we'll have to do. ಅದನ್ನ probably next class ಅಥವಾ ಅದರ next class ಇಂದ ನಾವು start ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So Kp, Ks, Ki were the propagation constant for the some signal and idler. The refractive index in the nonlinear material depends on the wavelength, direction of propagation, because it's a crystal which is what you call asymmetric there, and on the polarization of the waves. Hence, it is generally possible by using birefringence and dispersion to find the conditions under which the previous equation, whatever I took, that is to be satisfied. It says how the matching conditions will be arrived at in the next few lines. That is as far as optical parametric generation is concerned. The crystals that we use, they have birefringence and also partly dispersion, which means frequency dependent or wavelength dependent propagation in the medium. Using that, because it is wavelength dependent propagation in the medium, depending, and already it is birefringent, depending upon direction, the refractive index will change. So you play around the value of the refractive index to change the matching conditions and generate the idler frequency, and also because of the matching condition that is achieved, some energy of the pump is also transferred to our signal. Signal gets amplified, part of the pump energy goes into the idler frequency, which is newly generated, and the pump signal also comes out with a much reduced energy. This is about the parametric amplification. Then there are two more phenomena. One is called as optical rectification, and the other is known as DC Kerr effect, or electro-optic effect. This is also a part of the effects of second order dependency of the polarization on susceptibility. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಪ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ರೆಕ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಇದು ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ರೆಕ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಯು ಇಂಪೋಸ್ ಎ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ, but you produce a polarization which is proportional to the average value of the signal produced, the signal that is incident. So idondri riti, therefore average value ge ee polarization proportional agodrinda ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ವೇವ್ ಬಂದ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಅದರ ಕಾಂಜುಗೇಟ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಬಂದು ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗ್ತವೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಪ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಕಾಂಜುಗೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಎ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, actually it will also produce a signal that is proportional to the average value of the input wave. That is called as optical rectification. Then there is something called DC Kerr effect. What is this Kerr effect? Kerr effect is if you change the energy that you have put into a particular crystal, depending upon the square of the electric field, the refractive index should change. Normally what happens, the second order dependence, if there is second order dependence, actually by changing the electric field, square of the effect is not produced. But in a direction perpendicular to the direction of the crystal, you apply a wave, which is a DC field. Then you find that the material shows a change in the refractive index. That is called as DC Kerr effect. The DC Kerr effect is dependent on the second order dependence of susceptibility. Third order dependence ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಾಗ ಇದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ AC ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ refractive index change ಅನ್ನ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ. So there are two kinds of the Kerr effect or electro-optic effect. So the Kerr effect is a nonlinear optical effect which can occur when light propagates in crystals and glasses, but also in media such as gases. Essentially, what is the phenomenon? It is nothing but a change in the refractive index caused by electric fields, and the change that is produced in the refractive index is proportional to the square of the applied field. It comes in two forms, the DC effect and the AC effect. As far as the DC effect is concerned, you have a very slowly varying field, practically a DC field. When you apply it to a piece of glass using two electrodes and a light beam passes the glass, there is one AC signal, an electric field that is already imposed. Then on that, you are imposing a very slowly varying DC field. When you have that, you find that the optical phase, which is proportional to the square of the voltage applied. In other words, proportional to the square of the electric signal is applied. Here, therefore, what happens? The refractive index now begins to change. Usually, a glass, if you think of, is an isotropic material. Its refractive index is the same in all directions. Gases are also like that only. So, in a material which is having one refractive index, because they are isotropic in nature. Now, you are going to induce a second refractive index also. In other words, a mono-refringent material becomes a birefringent material. That is the speciality of the phenomenon. So, in DC Kerr effect, you have materials which are actually not birefringent, that is having two different refractive indices. They become birefringent under the influence of an applied field which varies extremely slowly compared to a beam of light that is passing through the material that is being tested. Because of this slow variance of the applied field, I called it as a DC field. When that is applied, the refractive index changes in a way proportional to the square of the applied field. A material that is not birefringent naturally becomes a birefringent material. So this is known as DC Kerr effect. Sunne illi nanu just schematic toorsini ashte. There is a laser source from which a particular frequency is incident on a non-linear crystal. You are applying a DC field in addition. The signal that comes out are relationships here. Assuming some constant electric field over some path length L, the induced phase angle change d phi will be 2 pi k e square. As the phase angle changes, you know, there is a optical phenomena that is coming into picture, and the d phi is proportional to e square. That is what we have been discussing. So, this is DC Kerr effect. Optical parametric amplification ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಇದು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಕಿಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಏನು ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಗಮನಿಸಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. all these two, the triangles that I have taken, they are all the signals that I am trying to represent. They end up very sharply. ಆ ರೀತಿ ಶಾರ್ಪ್ಲಿ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಡ್ಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಶಾರ್ಪ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಅಪ್ರಾಕ್ಸಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಗಾಜಿಯನ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದೊಂದು ಚಿತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಇದೆ, ಗಮನಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸೊ ಎಸೆನ್ಷಿಯಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್: ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ or two sources ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಸೇಮ್ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ that can be manipulated to produce two different frequencies, tunable laser ತರ. There is a pump frequency shown by blue, which is having a larger energy. Then there is a signal frequency that is small.
Invite ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸರ್. ವನಿತನ ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಈಗ. ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ. ಬಂದ್ರಲ್ಲ? Is she able to join? ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆದ್ರು ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದೆ ಇದು ಈ ಚಿತ್ರ ಹಾಕಿರೋದು? ಹಲೋ,
ಹಾ ಸರ್.
ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ? ನಾನು ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಇಂದ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದಕ್ಕೂ ನ್ಯೂ ಶೇರ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೇಳಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಟ್ಯೂನಬಲ್ ಲೇಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋಬಹುದೇನಾ? 2 ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸೀಸ್ ನ ಅದು ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ನಾನ್ ಲೀನಿಯರ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲ್ಗೆ, ಒಂದು ಪಂಪ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಹೈಯರ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ, ಮತ್ತೊಂದು a signal of lower energy. As it passes through a field, through a crystal, what you get out of it is a depleted pump frequency and an amplified signal frequency. ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಐಡ್ಲರ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. An idler frequency is also generated. So ಇದು ರಫ್ಲಿ ಆಪ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೆಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಲೇಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಆಪ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೆಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಇದು ಜನರೇಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಎಸೆನ್ಷಿಯಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ were trying to look at. These are all effects of second order dependence of polarization and susceptibility. 3 phenomena ಅಥವಾ 4 phenomena. Third order non-linearities ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಾಗ susceptibility-ಗೆ, then there are certain other phenomena that are also generated. Some very interesting and complicated phenomena will come into picture. One simple phenomenon that comes into picture is what is known as third harmonic generation. If you input a frequency omega, then the output will be through the nonlinear crystal a frequency 3 times omega. This is called as frequency up conversion anta kuda heltare idakke, or simply harmonic generation. If there is a frequency n, frequencies 2n, 3n, 4n, etc. are the harmonics. Half n, 1/3 n, etc. they are subharmonics. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ? So third order non-linearities ಬಂದಾಗ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ what you will generally find is that there will be 3 waves of frequencies omega 1, omega 2 and omega 3. They combine in different ways to produce a 4th wave. That is what happens when the dependence of P on third order nonlinearity exists. Therefore, I have written P omega 4 is equal to epsilon chi 2 E1, E2, E3 ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇದೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಟು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ನಾನ್-ಲೀನಿಯಾರಿಟಿ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ನಾನ್-ಲೀನಿಯಾರಿಟಿ is not seen in centrosymmetric crystals, but here third order is a real one. So it can be seen in even centrosymmetric crystals. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ what are the various phenomena that we are going to see ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, we are going to see a phenomena called as third harmonic generation. Then the optical Kerr effect, which tells you that in addition to a refractive index n1, which is linearly dependent on chi, another refractive index n2i is also added to the frequency, the refractive index of the material, I being the intensity of the wave. So ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು AC Kerr effect ಅಂತೀವಿ, ಅದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ there is something called optical phase conjugation. Essentially, the third order effects are 4-wave mixing. As you see from my equation above, we said, yep, what did we say? We said, where are we? We said P omega 4 is equal to epsilon chi 2 another chi 3 ಇರಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. epsilon naught chi 3 E omega 1, omega 2, omega 3. So this is 4-wave mixing. Because you mix 4 waves, number 1, if there is a frequency omega, 3 times omega can be generated. If there is a crystal whose refractive index is n1 where the dependence is linear, then an additional change in refractive index is produced by the application of the another additional wave, and AC electric field, another signal which modulates the refractive index in such a way that it adds another value, a small value N2I, where N2 is the frequency, refractive index, I is the intensity of the wave. So this is called as optical Kerr effect. AC effect ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ದಿ the change in the refractive index is proportional to N2 I R comma T. N2 is the refractive index change that is brought about, and I is the intensity of the wave. ಇದನ್ನ ಮುಂದೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. Then there is something called optical phase conjugation. It's a third order nonlinear interaction producing a light beam that is the spatial complex conjugate of one of the waves incident on the nonlinear medium. So if omega 1 is the frequency of a given wave, ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ E is equal to E naught T to the power of minus I omega T ಅಂತ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ನಾನ್ಲೀನಿಯರ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಂ ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿಸಿದಾಗ E is equal to E naught plus E to the power of I omega T ಅನ್ನುವಂತ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ವೇವ್ ಜನರೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ within the medium. So input a wave, its complex conjugate is produced as it passes through the nonlinear medium and comes out. Such a thing is called optical phase conjugation. To produce a wave, its complex conjugate is also produced. That is called as optical phase conjugation. Because of optical phase conjugation, the optical rectification, etc., become possible. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ 4 ವೇವ್ ಮಿಕ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ if omega 1, omega 2, omega 3 are the different frequencies, you have a situation where 2 omega 1 can be generated, 2 omega 2 can be generated, omega 1 minus omega 2, omega 3 minus omega 2, all these various other frequencies also can be generated. These are some of the effects that you see. In addition, what you see is phenomena such as stimulated Raman scattering and stimulated Brillouin scattering. The stimulated Raman scattering is produced by the interaction of a laser beam with molecular vibrational modes. The Raman compliant molecule has several vibrational modes. The laser pump frequency omega p is also made incident. Due to the nonlinear interaction, what happens is the amplification happens, parametric amplification happens at omega p minus omega naught, where omega naught is the frequency of those molecular vibrations. ಅದು ಒಂದು ರಾಮನ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಒಂದು ಪಂಪ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿನ ಒಂದು ನಾನ್ಲೀನಿಯರ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, omega p minus omega naught ಅನ್ನುವಂತ frequency becomes amplified. The amplification occurs due to the interaction between the Stokes photons with the laser photons in the medium, which results in the stimulation of additional Stokes photons coherent with the incident Stokes photons. Therefore, what happens? More Stokes lines are produced. Stokes lines, more number of them are produced. Scattering of Stokes lines happens. And SRS is used in such diverse fields as spectroscopy, coherent frequency conversion, signal amplification, beam combining, beam cleanup, etc. Ivel nonlinear optical phenomena used mostly in photonics. Next is the Brillouin scattering. This is related to the phenomena due to the interaction between an incident light wave and the elastic acoustic wave in a transparent medium. Acoustic wave is a sound wave. The scattered light can be thought of as Doppler shifted reflection from an incident acoustic wavefront, or as the scattering of a photon from an acoustic phonon. Unit of phonon. So the frequency shift of the scattered light depends on the scattering angle and the acoustic velocity in the medium. The laser scattering from the acoustic disturbance the incident laser and the Boolean scatter waves superpose to form a traveling beat frequency wave. This satisfies the momentum and energy conditions such as k dash is equal to k plus or minus k and omega dash is equal to omega plus or minus capital omega. So the scattered wave got the capital omega. So this is some other phenomena. So ಈ phenomena ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಇದರ ಮ್ಯಾಥಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. There we end up. Then there is something called a two photon absorption. This is the simultaneous absorption of two photons, which may be identical or which may be different in frequency, in order to excite a molecule from one state to another. The energy difference between the lower and upper states of the molecule involved is equal to the sum of the energies of the two photons. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಎರಡು ಫೋಟಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ವ್ ಆಗಿ ಆ ಗಿವನ್ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಒಂದು ಹೈಯರ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಗೆ ಪಂಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋನ್ as two photon absorption. Then there is phase modulation, self phase modulation, and there is something called as cross phase modulation. All these things we can list, and then from the next class onwards we start off with the details of the second harmonic generation. A lot of emphasis is there on second harmonic generation in our syllabus. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿರೋಣ. ನಾಳೆ ನೋಡೋಣ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಯ್ತು ನಂದು. ಒಂದು ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿರಿ ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ.